Hi guys, um, it's the video today. It's like part 2 of one I did a couple of weeks ago. I'll drop a link to that one in the description below. If you remember, I visited an area between Aberford and Towton and some ancient earthworks, one called the Rein and one called South Dyke, that have been there since at least Roman times, if not before that. I took my drone with me. It was really windy, and when I got home I didn't have any drone footage. I don't know what went wrong, so I've come back today to have another go. The area got company. The area that's the South Ridge. That's South Ridge there, and then the Rein runs all the way up there for about a mile or so, and then the South Ridge continues across here. I was going to go to that side and film it, but I can't get. The footpath that I would use is blocked, so I thought I'd come to this side of the valley and see what we get. It's much better conditions, quite a low sun, but very little wind. So yeah, let's see how it goes. I've been asked to provide maps for some of my walks, so I've managed to get one on this occasion. It's from the National Library of Scotland. It's the Ordnance Survey map for the area of 1849. From what I can gather on their website, it's okay to use them for educational purposes as long as you credit them for the maps, which I'll do here, and then I'll do it again in the description. I love old maps. This one really shows you everything you need to know about the area. Although we're not covering it on this video, it shows Becca Banks clearly running from the west, almost 5 kilometres to where it finishes in Hayton Wood. Woodhouse Moor Rein, that we are covering on this video, is in the bottom right. And then what's shown on modern maps as South Dyke, I keep calling it South Ridge, runs parallel to the mill race. It's shown as the Rein, and then it's not even got a name as it runs at almost right angles to the Rein. Hayton Wood is there to be seen. Not a lot has changed really in this area. The main thing being the Great North Road that runs on this map straight through the middle of Aberford. That's had a couple of iterations since. In the early 1960s, a new road was built, 4 lanes, most of the way from Edinburgh to London, although there were large parts, still single carriageway, I think, further north. And then more recently, that's been superseded by 6 and in some places 8 lane A1M1 that runs about 500 yards to the east of the village. So that does go through the area. One thing that we will see that has changed at the end of the South Dyke, there's a mill shown on the map called Grange Mill, and I can't really read it whether it says Old Mill Quarry or Oil Mill Quarry, but they're no longer there. But I'll show you on the drone footage. We fly right over that site. But not so much else has changed in this area, except a lot of new houses in Aberford. But without further ado, let's get on with the drone footage. So here we go then. I think this is about my 4th or 5th attempt at flying the drone. I'm finding it a little bit more difficult than I imagined it would be. We're on the north side of the Cockbeck on a slight hill. You'll see that later. And the purpose of this little trip is to see the ancient earthworks that are on that south side. They're the South Dyke and Woodhouse Moor Rein, which you can see running from right to left. The footpath across the field directly in front of us, that's the way that I normally access this area from Aberford. But the entrance to the footpath at the Aberford end was blocked, so I had to come a different way. But I haven't really got my head round yet that you don't need to be anywhere in particular to fly a drone. They're just up and away, aren't they? In the distance there, you can see Hookmore Wind Farm, and as we get higher, you get a great view of the Rein. I say it's a 2,000 at least year old earthwork running downhill from Lotherton to Aberford, all dug out by hand, ditches and bankings. But in the far distance on the horizon, that'll be the Pennine Hills that you can see. So I'm just getting my bearings. There you go. You can see that goes all the way up to Lotherton. And then in the distance there on the horizon, across the Vale of York, you can see Drax Power Station. And that's all the Vale of York looking towards the Yorkshire Wolds. And then further north, the Hambleton Hills. The valley of the Cockbeck directly in front of us there shows that it is actually a valley, very shallow valley. Looking towards Tadcaster and York Way now. And then the A1M and Aberford. Looking back towards Leeds. And again, the Pennines in the distance. I really am sort of getting my bearings with this piece of kit. I think it's just practice. And I'm going to include the footage that I take on the channel, because it's good memories for me to look back on in years to come. I don't know why I went round twice here. I did 2 360s. There's Hayton Wood there. And then the path that you can see running across the field into the wood, that's the line of Becca Banks. And Becca Banks ends just in the wood on the right. It's pretty much intact, is Becca Banks, except for these 2 fields. And the only thing that gives you any indication where it was the footpath. It was ploughed over a long, long time ago. Lotherton Hall, I think that you can see maybe in the distance there. And just make out the Hambleton Hills in the far distance. I'm going to make a video where I follow the entire length of Becca Banks. It's 5.1 kilometres long. I think I might start from this end, start from the woods, and walk down through Aberford and almost to Barwick in Elmet it'll take us. And again, I'm just getting used to the controls here. I think you see me and the dog in a moment. We're just in this field coming up from the right, just by the top hedge. It's a lovely little valley, is this though? The Cockbeck starts in Leeds, actually in the city centre, actually in the suburbs of the city. There you go. The entirety now of the length of the Rein. South Ridge in the very top right hand corner there. And then South Ridge comes across and joins on this hedge that you can see in the centre of the video, and then runs up to its end in the trees. But yeah, the Cockbeck starts in Leeds, runs through Leeds for about 4 miles, 5 miles. There we are again, me and the dog. And then it flows along here for about another 5, 6 miles, and then it joins the River Wharfe near Tadcaster. I haven't done a right lot of editing of this. I maybe should have done a little bit more, but it was such a lovely day and it was quite still. And it's lovely to see the some of the trees, the hedgerows, are turning green, but the trees in the woods are still bare mostly. Yeah. Lotherton Hall's probably at the top of the picture now, where the trees are, just to the left of the Hookmore wind farm. And I think, to be honest now, I think I could just about see the drone, but I'd kind of lost my bearings. I haven't quite got the hang of the you push to go forward, but if you're facing backwards, you end up not going forwards, you end up going backwards, and the thing ends up miles away from you, and you think you're bringing it towards you. It's very complicated for an old guy. Yeah, I'm sure that's Hazelwood Castle there. And the little patch of the woods that looks bare, that was clear felled about 20 years ago, and that's been replanted. And they're doing really well. They're growing quite well now. I think I'd lost my bearings completely here. So there's a feature on it called Return to Home, and I've started doing that so that I can start again. Basically, I think what I need to do is find a landmark and fly from one landmark to another landmark. Possibly might help me. But yeah, I could hear it now coming back into land. So I cancelled the return to home and set off again. We're just by that hedge on the left there. Decided to go up if I could, up the valley. Avoiding the trees. It's a lovely area, this. Now the trees there, just to the right of centre, now centre. That's where the mill on the map is shown, and the quarry. The disused quarry is still there, but there's no signs of the mill at all. It's like a lot of places. It's like Scotland. There's places where there were so many people living. We think it's quiet countryside, but 150 years ago, almost 200 years ago, there were probably a lot more people living around here. That's the mill site. That's the mill site there to the left, and the quarry centre screen now. But yeah, there were probably a lot more people living in these areas then than there are now. A nice shot there of the valley heading off towards the Crooked Billet pub. About 2 miles away. You can actually see York Minster from the high ground around here, but I've looked and better looked on here, and I can't see it on the horizon. Drax Power Station again. And now you can see the Rein coming down the hill from Lotherton, and then going down into the valley. And South Ridge, South Dyke went across at right angles to it. And then Hayton Wood and Becca Banks going off for 5 kilometres towards Barwick. It's incredible, really. It's what must have been going on around here. Real centre of population and power and influence in the north of England. Great view of the valley as it winds its way out of Aberford. Got a real fright here. I think I'd pressed the return to home feature, and the little gizmo that I'm holding in my hands was telling me that there was too much wind, which there wasn't really. I didn't think there was, but it said there's too much wind that return to home feature's being disabled. I had visions of it just landing in the middle of a field somewhere. And then the low battery land your drone immediately started chirping up as well. But fortunately, that was about this point, so I think it was just about directly above us. Good shot there of the top end of Aberford and the A1M, which is in a cutting at this point. It's the first time I've took my dog with me when I've flown the drone, and it was interesting to see a reaction when it took off. I think she thought it was a frisbee that was just flying away forever. But she seemed a little confused when it landed, but as soon as it landed, she was wanting to retrieve it, I think. So I had to be quick. Yeah, we're down here somewhere. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this footage, and there's a little bit more still to come on the video. So it would be great if you could stick with us to the end. Well, thanks for watching, guys, the drone footage. I hope it came out okay. I'm just stopping for a bit of lunch. I'm supposed to be starting a diet today, but we'd bought the Morrison's cheese and onion pasty before the diet started, so I don't want to waste it. I was going to bring tea, so I've got this instead, but it's 0 sugar, so I guess that counteracts the pasty. But I'm in a spot where I used to spend a lot of time in the old COVID lockdown. I used to come I used to spend it. Some of it was for you. Sit. You didn't just have to take it. Put that one to the bottom. You nicely. Yeah, it was a place I used to come a lot in the COVID lockdown. Used to come for a walk and just sit here for, I think, hours. Never been one for being stuck in the house. So this served me. It served me very well. Anyway, we're going to have me and the dog. Bon appetit. No, doesn't taste slimming. Ciao.